What's going on, guys? It's Fade and Stats, and today I'm giving my all NBA picks. First, I want to start out with the honorable mentions, one being De'Aaron Fox, the other being Brook Lopez, and the last one being Kawhi Leonard. I was this close to putting these guys on my list, but unfortunately they didn't make it, and I thought other players were better. Starting off with the All-NBA third-team guard, the first one we have is Steph Curry. Now, despite the Warriors' struggles on the road, Steph is still averaging 29.5 points per game with 6 rebounds and 6 assists on 49% shooting this year. And he's also shooting 91% from the free throw line. I did go back and forth on this spot. I wasn't sure if I wanted Steph or De'Aaron Fox. But at the end of the day, when you look at the numbers, Steph's numbers were just a lot better, and I know De'Aaron Fox is still a good player. It's not a knock on De'Aaron Fox. Then the third team guard was also a spot I was looking at to put De'Aaron Fox, but I ended up having to go with Damian Lillard. It was just so hard to leave Damian Lillard off this list. I mean, he arguably had the best season of his career this year. He averaged 32 points per game this year, along with 5 rebounds and 7 assists. And unfortunately, the Portland Trail Blazers were not good again this year. He had the best season of his career shooting the ball this year, and I think the 71 ball in regulation just really put it over the top. Really put it over the top for the kind of season he's having this year. And again, it was really hard just to leave him off this list, but I had to go with Dame for that second third team guard spot. Now, the third team forward spot is going to be Kevin Durant. Now, despite only playing 47 games this year, we know what Kevin Durant can do when he's on the floor. He's averaging 29 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, along with 5 assists. And despite everything that's transpired, whether it be in Brooklyn or the trade to Phoenix, when Kevin Durant plays basketball, his team wins. We saw it in Brooklyn, and now we're seeing it in Phoenix with the team being 8-0 when he plays. Now, my third team second forward spot has got to be Lauri Markkanen from the Utah Jazz. He has made one of the biggest jumps we've seen recently from a good young player. He's averaging 25.5 points per game, along with 8.5 rebounds per game on 49% shooting. His numbers are way up from last year when he averaged 14 points per game and 5 rebounds a game, along with the Cleveland Cavaliers last year. Now, I know he wasn't the number one option last year, which is probably why his numbers were down, but this year he was. And we saw what he can do. And everyone counted the Jazz out this year, and they ended up making a pretty good run this season. They fought all the way to the end with Mr. Markkanen leading the way, and he was also a first-time All-Star this year. Now, finishing out the third team at the center position, I did have to go with Anthony Davis. He's averaging 26 points per game along with 12.5 rebounds per game, and he seems to have really found his groove here lately in the season, helping the Lakers get a push into the playoffs. While LeBron was out, Anthony Davis showed us that he can still be the dominant player he once was. And if he can stay healthy, the Lakers have a chance to do something special this year. But yeah, that's the All-NBA third team. Moving on to the All-NBA second team. Now, this is where I'm probably going to get the most controversy, the picks between the second and the first team. So with the first guard spot on the All-NBA second team, I have Ja Morant. He's averaging 26 points per game along with 6 rebounds per game and 8 assists per game. Ja has led the Memphis Grizzlies to the second seed this year, and Ja has led the Memphis Grizzlies to the second seed in the Western Conference this year. Although he's had some controversies as of late, Ja has really played good this season, and he's been a big part of why the Grizzlies have been able to lock up the second seed. Despite his recent suspension, Ja has still played 61 games this year, which is more than a lot of guards have this year. Now, coming in at the second spot, this is where it's going to get really interesting. My second guard on the All-NBA second team is Luka Doncic. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that Luka has been amazing this season. He's averaging 32 points per game, which is second in the league, along with 8 rebounds and 8 assists per game. He has played most of the games this year, having 66 games played, and the only reason I have him on the second team is just simply because the Mavs had a drastic fall off, which I know it probably isn't most of Luka's fault, considering the Mavericks traded away all their defense. But still, the Mavericks aren't even in the playoffs, and the drastic fall off just made me feel like Luka deserves second team, and other people deserve first team over him. Now, coming in at the forward spot, we have Jimmy Butler. Now, coming in at the forward spot on the All-NBA team, we have Jimmy Butler. Averaging 23 points per game, along with 6 rebounds and 5 assists per game. Jimmy has been consistent throughout the whole season, and he's definitely the reason the Heat are holding on to the 7th seed right now. Jimmy has played some of the most games among forwards. When you look at the forwards, not a lot of games have been played due to injuries or load management or whatever other reason. But Jimmy Butler has been the most consistent this year, and we know what he can do when he wants to. I know the Heat have been worse this year, but that doesn't take anything away from Jimmy right now because he is so good, and we know what he can do when he wants to try. Coming in at the second forward spot on the All-NBA second team, we have Domantas Sabonis from the Sacramento Kings. Domas is averaging 19 points per game along with 12.5 rebounds per game and 7 assists per game. His pairing with De'Aaron Fox has been really good for the Kings this year and is a big reason why they're not only making the playoffs for the first time in 16 years, but they are also making the playoffs as a third seed for the first time in 16 years. If you watch the Kings play, you'll understand why I have Domas Sabonis in this spot, and he is a big part of that Kings offense, which gets them going. Now, coming in at the center spot on All-NBA second team, it can go either way. It just all depends on really who your MVP is. So my second team All-NBA center is going to be Nikola Jokic. Now, Nikola Jokic should be first team. We all know that. But with the position criteria, you just can't have Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic on the same team. Next year, we will be able to, as all the awards and CBA and all of that change. Now, we all know Nikola Jokic is a great player. I just can't have him on first team because of Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid has had a pretty decent season. Has had just a little bit better of a season this year. Moving on to All-NBA first team, my first guard spot is that man, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's averaging 31 points per game on 51% shooting this year and 90% from the free throw line. Oklahoma City's over-under at wins was 23.5 games this year, and they absolutely crushed it. Currently sitting at 39 wins with a possible of 40 if they beat the Grizzlies on Sunday. SGA has quickly become one of the hardest players to guard, and he can score, and he scores efficiently. He was a first-time All-Star this season, and his first time making an All-NBA team will be first-team All-NBA. Oklahoma City has competed in every single game, and Shai is the reason why. There's never been a game where they felt like they were going to lose. And it's no coincidence that it's because of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, for my second guard spot on All-NBA first team, I have Donovan Mitchell. He's averaging 28 points per game along with 4 rebounds per game this year and 4 assists on 48% shooting. Now, the reason I have Donovan Mitchell on first team over some of the other guys is because his first year on the Cavs, they have locked up the 4th seed and they are in the playoffs after being a play-in team last year. Now, granted, this can also be attributed to the young players they already had, like Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. But with that being said, if you look at the Western Conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers would be the second seed, and the Cleveland Cavaliers would be tied for the second seed in the West. Now, I know it has been a weird year in terms of parity and teams' win-loss record, but still, you cannot take this away from the Cavs that they would be the second team in the West, and they were a really good basketball team. His impact on this team has been felt, and the Cavs have a chance to cause an upset in the playoffs this year. Now, with the first forward spot on first team All-NBA, I do have Jason Tatum. I feel like this one's pretty self-explanatory, but Jason Tatum has had the best year of his career, despite recent struggles. He's averaging 30 points per game with 9 rebounds and 4.5 assists, and the Celtics are at the top of the Eastern Conference looking to make another NBA Finals run. For the second forward spot on my All-NBA first team, I do have Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, do I need to even say much more? Giannis is looking to make his 5th straight first All-NBA appearance. He's averaging 31 points per game on 12 rebounds per game and almost 6 assists per game. You make the argument that Giannis has once again been the best basketball player this year, leading his team to a #1 seed, all while not having Chris Middleton for most of the season. Giannis has been able to lead his team to the first seed, and he's looking to win another ring. And my All-NBA first team center, if you couldn't tell from All-NBA second team, my first team is Joel Embiid. Now, obviously, we only have room for one center on All-NBA first team. With this pick, everyone probably already knows who my MVP is. This is the last year of the position format, so next year we won't have to worry about any positions when it comes to All-NBA team. But with that being said, my All-NBA first team center is Joel Embiid. He's averaging 33 points per game this year, locking up his 2nd straight scoring title. Along with 10 rebounds and 4 assists, Joel Embiid has just been playing really crazy as of late, and that 52-point game really put the stamp on it for me. And with the narrative going around that Nikola Jokic is a bad defender, I think some of the voters, and with voter fatigue, I think some of the voters will vote for Joel, and Joel will eventually end up winning his first MVP and be first team All-NBA after finishing 2nd for 2 years in a row behind Mr. Jokic. The 76ers are on their way to locking up the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. And with the way Joel has been playing lately, they're beginning to look like a dangerous team come playoff time. But we all know what happens when the Sixers get in the playoffs, and they're looking to change that narrative this year. So yeah, guys, that's my All-NBA teams. Let me know what you think. These are all my personal picks. Yours probably won't be the same because we don't have the same mind and we don't think the same, and that's okay. But comment down below and let me know if you would have had any of these guys switched or if you would have had someone else in.